Welcome to the Small Business MBA, Making Business Awesome. And welcome to all those who are on live, and welcome those who are listening to the recording. My name's Tony, but you probably already know that now. And welcome to the next 7 weeks, where every Tuesday at 6 o'clock we will be sitting at our computers or listening to it at some other time if you're not joining us live. But I'll be taking you through this 7-week program to help make your business awesome. I'm really looking forward to this because I think it's a pretty cool program, even though I did do it myself. So without further ado and without me rambling, let's get into it. So what are we going to be doing tonight? First of all, start off with some housekeeping, give you an overview to the program to tell you what you're in for the next 7 weeks, talk a little bit about why you're here, potentially. A little bit about me, not too much though, because I don't want to bore you, and then we'll get into the whole program. So look, before we get into the overview, just a little bit of housekeeping. As you know, you signed up for the 7-week program. You also get access to me throughout that 7 weeks. So it's important that you use that. I can't force you to use me, but I obviously encourage you to use me, because for you to get the best value out of it, ask me questions, send me emails, give me a call, do all those sorts of things. If you don't, well, that's your loss, not my loss, and it makes my job easier. But look, the program is designed to allow you to get the results that some of my coaching clients would get. So it's a fast track coaching program, and I'll hold no, won't keep anything from you, but this first week is the toughest week, okay, as far as your homework. You will be getting homework every week, but I'll touch on that a little bit more later. So that's the housekeeping. The other thing too to remember is you don't have to be here live. You'll get the recording straight after it's done. Just simply click on that link and you can watch it anytime you wish. There's nothing to download, there's nothing to install. Let's just click on the link and you'll get that replay. So, you know, if you don't join live, you're not missing anything. Simply just means that you can watch it at your leisure. So what is it? It's a 7-week program, as I said, all about making your business awesome, which is the MBA. It's not a real MBA, so I'm not trying to trick you there. It's just a nice little play on words that makes it sort of, it's probably more powerful than MBA, having done one myself. A lot of the skills that you actually get in that are nice theoretical things, but this is going to give you some practical outtakes so that you can actually implement them for your business. So we're going to start off tonight by creating a clear goal and a plan, because you have to start with somewhere. You have to start with the end journey in view. So you have to know where you're heading so that you can actually get there. Next week, we'll talk about building a great team. So if you've got staff, that's relevant for you. If you don't have staff, well, it's probably not as relevant, but we'll talk about developing roles for yourself. Then we'll look at how to attract better clients, so how to get those perfect clients into your business. We'll also sort of look at your sales process in that as well. Then we'll go into closing more sales, so how to actually convert those people into paying customers or clients. Then look at your margins and look at your pricing, how you set your pricing, and look at, you know, how do you can get the best out of your margin setting. We'll talk about building a smart system. So how do you systemize your business? Now, this is particularly relevant if you want to replicate your business, if you want to automate your business, if you want to have things in there that, you know, sort of go on autopilot. And then the last week's more of a wrap-up session where we sort of put it all together and say, okay, well, you know, you've done all this work now, what do you do? And that's pretty much the 7 weeks that we'll be sharing with each other. So it's all about mapping the route to success, all about mapping the route to making your business awesome. So it's looking at where you are today, identifying the gap, developing our plan, learning the new skills, you know, getting help from others, which is me, and then implementing that plan so that you can get to that end goal that we'll work on setting this week. So it's a process. It's just like, you know, coaching is a process. It's like anything you should be doing in your business should have a process and a bit of structure around it. So it's helping you put some structure into your goal setting and your business direction. Because look, a lot of the businesses I talk to, they don't have a structure. They don't have any sort of real goal. It's more, okay, well, whatever happens today happens. They don't really know where they're heading, if they're making money, if they're not making money, and how much money should they be making. So they don't have that detailed plan or that detailed structure in place. So we're going to be talking about how we can get that better for your business to make it awesome. A little bit about me. I've worked for Yum Restaurants for 23 years. Now Yum Restaurants owns KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell. It's a global company. Started as a little 15-year-old cook and then progressed up through the ranks and sort of traveled the world. And one of my biggest roles I had with them was where I was in the Middle East, looking after 12 countries, about $700 million worth of sales, dealing with that's 500 and plus franchise stores. So a strong background in that whole sort of systems and processes and developing plans and things with the franchisees, because they were all sort of what we call a corporate franchise. So they might have had 50, 60, 70 stores each. So they would manage those, and we'd make sure they had their people and their processes and their structure in place. I woke up one day and decided I didn't want to do that anymore. After being in Canberra for about 18 months, and for the last 4 years, I've been a business coach. And in between that, I was also came back to Perth, where I was looking after KFC and Pizza Hut over there before moving to Canberra. Look, one of my burning desires is just to make sure that I continually help business owners create change and create results for their business. And that's one of the keys behind this program, is to actually get you into that mindset of creating change and actually getting something happening for your business, because it's critical that we all work on our business, not just in our business every day. Because if we work in it all the time, well, nothing will really change. But if we take that time, like you're doing now, to actually listen to some advice from somebody else, they're spending, first of all, you're spending an hour just listening to the webinar. But then you'll have homework to do, so you're actually spending more time being productive and working on your business. So I can't emphasize how critical it is that you complete the tasks each week. So look, why did I set up the MBA? Well, it came a lot from some corporate learnings versus my job learnings, and by job I mean in my job role as a business coach. So look, being a part of the world's largest restaurant group, Yum Restaurants, and actually bigger than McDonald's if you add them all together, what did I learn? I learned they had solid systems, they had very highly documented systems and processes. There was a very solid and strong financial focus, a massive, massive people culture, and everything was planned, strategic, and measured. And that's how a business should be. But what have I seen when I've been dealing with the dozens and dozens of businesses as a business coach? Well, most businesses, unfortunately, have no systems. They've got no process. They're just doing whatever happens. They've got poor financials, or worst case scenario, no financials. I think I did some numbers recently, and I think it was about 90% of the businesses that I've spoken to didn't know their break even. They didn't run financial reports each month. They had no awareness of how many customers they had to serve to actually break even that week or that day or that month, whatever it may have been. So it's just a clear lack of financial process, or they're still operating from an Excel document and no financial accounting systems. They had limited people, and if they did have limited people, or they had people, they had no culture. They didn't have a defined culture process in their business. They had no job roles. They had no performance management. But we'll talk about those as we go through. And look, what you see is firefighting, typical management by crisis. So there's very little planning. And the results, they look at, how's your business going? Oh yeah, I've got money in the bank, so it must be doing okay. Well, it's not the way to run a business. We want to get our businesses, no matter what size they are, to be operating like those corporate success stories that we see out there all day. All the big brands, there's nothing stopping your business from operating like one of the big brands, but on a smaller level, by having the systems and the processes. And it's not that hard, okay? It just takes time. And if you're in startup phase for your business, now's the perfect time to actually do that. So something was missing. So that's why I developed the MBA. Okay, the problem was that small businesses were struggling to gain traction. Their costs were growing. Staff were an issue either to get, to keep, or to develop, because one, they didn't know how to do it. They didn't have the expertise or the skills. They didn't have the systems. They didn't have the structure or the process around it. Business owners are stuck in that rut of working in their business, not on their business, and that's extremely common. And look, it's as a small business owner myself now, I find it's easy to fall into that trap. Sometimes you've got to give yourself a slap in the face and actually say, well, look, this is not viable. This is not why I went into business. I actually need to spend some time working on my business, on the strategic side of my business, on the systems, on the on the marketing. So you've got to look at that. Typically, the small business owners' work-life balance sucks. They've got less time now than they thought they'd go into business for freedom and spend more time with the family and everything like that. But in reality, they're working 80, 90, 100 hours a week. They're not making any money, and they're just waking up every day probably not wanting to go to work. And that's not really what we want. We want business owners who are passionate about what they do, and we want ones who actually want to be there because they know their business has potential for success. And that's, again, why I've set this MBA up. So look, business needs help, but they can't afford it, or they don't know where to go. And look, coaching is a solution. Coaching can be expensive. So I wanted to make something that was, developed to be, give top line, fast track topics of the most common issues that I've identified as missing when I've been talking to business owners. And that's where the 6 topics came up from. Is they're the things that I find that probably have the biggest bang for the buck, and the things that should give definite action and definite focus on your business as you work forward. So I hope that you share that as you go through this journey with me, that these are the most critical things. And that's why we start with goal setting and building that plan, because you've got to have that foundation. It's like building a house. You don't build a house and just start putting the roof on. You've got to lay the foundation first, and then you've got to build the walls, and then you've got to get all the internal structures, and then you put the roof on. So that's what we're doing. We're building your business from the ground up, starting with the most critical and most important part of the business. Look, it won't provide all the answers, but it's definitely a start to the journey, and it will give you a massive head start. Some of the stuff that we're doing in this, might take probably 3 to 6 months to get through with a normal coaching client, and they're paying a lot more than what the small business MBA program is cost. So it's an affordable program designed to give you the best value and the best bang for your buck, as I mentioned, and more importantly, give you results and outcomes. So why are you here? Okay, it's hopefully you're here because you want to get some change. Okay, you want your business to change from where it currently is, or you're in that early startup phase where you're really a little bit lost and don't really know where to go. This will provide some direction, some clarity for you. And this is some typical things that we see. In business, if it's just you operating, you're possibly lonely. You've got no one to hang out with. Where you had that corporate job, you had all the people you talk to every Monday when you come and talk about the weekend, but you don't have those people to talk about. You don't have people to bounce ideas off. And a lot of people engage a coach for that reason. They want someone to bounce ideas, to challenge them, to throw things around with and say, well, what do you think of this? Or, should I do that? So, as I said at the start in the housekeeping, use me as that resource to bounce ideas and say, look, I've got this problem. What do you think I can do? And look, I'm not going to give you all the answers, but I'll give you some things to think about. So you're probably frustrated, frustrated you're not getting results, frustrated that your business isn't where it should be as fast as what you want it to be. You may not be making enough money, and that's probably one of the most common things you see in business. A lot of business owners just aren't making that adequate amount of money that they need to get their business going. You might feel like a fraud. I've set this business up, but really, do I know what I'm doing? Am I really a small business owner, or have I just bought myself a job? So, give yourself some credibility back by putting process in there. Sometimes we feel blocked up. We don't know where to go. We're stuck. I'll get off that picture. It's probably not a good picture. But we don't know where to go, so we're looking for some solutions. And we want to get off that roller coaster of just going up and down, up and down. Your sales might be great one day, then average the next day, then great the next week, then crap the next week. So we need to know, why is there ebbs and flows, and why is there all these different ups and downs in the business? And look, why people come to the MBA that I've had in the past. Look, to refresh their memory, to get their brain back in action, to get more leads and improve their marketing, to use and abuse me, some people have said, so go for it. To seek clarity as to what you need to do, to develop a plan for your business or your startup, as I mentioned before, to establish that habit of working on your business, to look for opportunities to grow the brand. You didn't have enough to do already, so you thought you'd do one more thing, and to be a sponge. Look, being a sponge is something that I think is critical. I have this theory that I want to learn something new each day. You learn one thing from somebody out there each day, well, you'll make an impact on your business. So you absorb what you can from other people, listen to different experts in different industries. But most importantly, you're hopefully here because you want to create change. And that's what I'm going to get out of it. So to create change, you can do it slow. You can use the old trial and error effect, or you can do it fast. But really, you've got to have that nuts and bolts system, and that's what we're going to be going through today. We're going to be taking you through that step-by-step process and that step-by-step system so that you can actually get into getting some things done in your business and making business awesome for you. So let's get into our week 1 of creating a clear goal or a plan. What are we going to cover? We're going to be covering, why you should have a goal. Why I say don't make a business plan, and then we'll talk about the one-page plan. So your outcomes is you'll hopefully understand goal setting, you'll build your own or establish your own goal, and we'll develop a one-page plan for you. So that's the outcomes that you'll be getting from this particular session this week. And as I mentioned before, there is a lot that you'll be doing in your homework. So no apologies. The first week's the toughest, and it gets better from there. But let's talk about goals. Why should we have a goal? First of all, what is a goal? A goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, the aim or desired result. And that's straight from the dictionary. So, a good way to think about that is, where do we want to end up? So the way, a little analogy I can use with that is, think back to the first rocket mission to the moon, back in the Apollo mission to the moon. Okay, they had their rocket ship, took off, they knew where they wanted to go, and there's the moon, a straight path to the moon. But the way that the rockets sort of flew, they've got their left and right thrusters. What happens is they'd take off, and because of the gravitational pull, it would, they'd be going off course, so they'd have to put on their right thruster to blow them back towards the left, and then they start heading back in the right direction, and then they start going too far to the left, so they have to put on their left thruster to come back to the right, and eventually they do that zigzag and get there. So you can have a goal for your business, but are you going to get straight to that goal? Absolutely not. Okay, so no holes barred there. You're not going to get straight to that goal. It's going to be, you get off track, you'll get distracted, other business needs will come up, but don't lose sight of that end goal. Don't lose sight of that end destination, being the moon in this case, because by adjusting, by tweaking, by resetting the behaviors and the actions that you're doing in your business, you'll get back towards that goal. Okay, a goal gives clarity and direction. Okay, it sets that scene as to where it is you want to go. You know that you want to get to, the end of the lake. Okay, so you know exactly that's where I need to go. So what do I need to go to get there? I'm going to have to paddle hard, and I'm going to have to make sure I paddle straight. But if I don't paddle straight, I'm going to have to readjust and get back on track there, just like in the rocket scenario. A goal is all about establishing a short or a long-term objectives, usually incorporating deadlines and quantifiable measures. It's something that will give you purpose and direction, allow you to focus. Okay, it can and should change with the business. As I mentioned before, it will change. Okay, you might get to your goal, but then you set a new goal. Okay, so once you've achieved your first goal, if you set long-term, short-term, whatever it is you decide to do, you will keep resetting the goalposts, putting new goalposts in place for the goal. Every time I get on this phone, my phone rings. A goal must be communicated and full organisational alignment gathered via proactive communication. So what do I mean by that? If you've got a team, okay, make sure that you share your goal with your team. So make sure that you actually tell your team what the goal is. Hey, this is where I want to head. This is what I want to do, and this is how we're going to get there. So use that goal in a public way, a public forum, because what that does is you then get buy-in with your team, so that they know exactly where your business is heading, and they can get excited by it. And a goal must be smart. Look, you may have heard about SMART goals, but what's a SMART goal? Look, a SMART goal guarantees or greatly enhances the chance of success. So a SMART goal means it must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be realistic, and it must be timely. And I'll explain that as we go through the goal process. So let's have a look at a goal. So how do you create a goal? Okay, it's probably one of the toughest things that a business owner will have to do. It's sometimes hard to think, well, where do I really want to go? Where's this business going to be in 6 months or 12 months or 3 months or 5 years time? But what I do when I'm working with people, I actually ask them those questions. Okay, if we're sitting here in 12 months time, what does your business look like? You may or may not have even thought about that. So, if you've got one location now, do you want to have 3 locations in 12 months? Or do you want to have 3 locations in 5 years? Or if you're doing $10,000 in sales now, do you want to be doing $50,000 in 12 months time? If you've got no staff, maybe you'll be having 3 staff, or your role will change. So they're the sort of things you think about. So how many staff do you have? Where are you trading? Are you in the same location? Are you in a bigger location? Are you operating online, offline? How many clients do you have? How many customers a week do you serve? What products do you offer now? What products will you be having in the future? Who's your largest customer? What's your turnover? What's your profits? Put some numbers there. If I'm doing $50,000 now and making $10,000 profit, well, in 12 months' time, I might be wanting to make $150,000 and $70,000 profit. But, what's your role? Are you still doing the same thing today as what you'll be doing in 12 months' time, or will you be doing something else? And what do your customers want from you? What do they expect? Obviously they expect great service and great product or whatever it is that you're selling, But what else do they want from you? Do they want the convenience? Do they want 24 hours a day access? Do they want to be able to, buy from you at any point in time, online, offline? What is it that they want? Do you even know what they want? So ask yourself some of those questions when you're going through thinking about a goal. And here's just some examples of some, just some of them from past MBA people, but this is just one to put here as a goal. So using this as a program. Okay, look, a goal could be, to establish a small business MBA program as a leading cost-effective program for business owners Australia-wide, providing 12 intakes per year with 15 to 20 participants each intake, generating over $100,000 in revenue. So now think back to that SMART goal. Is it a specific goal? Well, I think it's fairly specific. Is it measurable? Well, yes, I know I can track it with the number of intakes. I can say, yes, I've done 12 intakes. This is how many people I'm getting, and this is the revenue. So it's measurable. Is it achievable? Well, it's not too out there. So I don't think it's unattainable. And it's a bit like that whole reach for the stars and hit the moon sort of approach. Don't set yourself too low of a goal, because if you miss it, well, what's the worst case scenario? If I ran 12 intakes a year and only generated $50,000 a year, am I going to be disappointed? Probably not. Is it, well, I'm smart, is it realistic? Yes, I think so, as I said to you, and timely. Okay, it's within 12 months. So it's got that, 12 intakes per year. So it's got a time factor to it. A couple of other ones. To establish Where Woofie is an online retail outlet with global distribution within 3 years, generating X dollars profit. I took the money out there with the aim to sell the business for X in 5 years. So again, it meets that SMART goal criteria. To make the Business Boost Centre the go-to business support network within Canberra for all cloud-based solutions and training with a membership of 2,000 businesses by 2015-16. Again, it's a SMART goal. So your goal, when you develop your goal, it's once you've had that bit of a brainstorming session, whether it's with yourself, with your staff, with your partner, with your business partner, your family, your friends, myself, think about where you want your business to go, and all you need to do then is to put it into a simple sentence like that and have a time frame. So it might be a 3-month goal, it might be a 6-month goal, it might be a 12-month goal, it might be a 5-year goal. There's no right or wrong. It's your goal. It's not my goal. But when you start drafting it, do what a lot of people have done in the past, is actually draft it, send it to me, and then I'll challenge you on it. And I'll say, okay, well, it's not quite smart because you've missed out the time factor, or you've missed out something that's measurable, or you've missed out, is it really an attainable goal? So send it to me, and you might have 2 or 3 goes to get it right, but then that will be your goal that you've established for your business. And by doing that, at least you've got that end game in sight. You know where the moon is. You know what the moon looks like. So you can then start that journey towards hitting that target. So don't want an answer now, but what is your business goal? So you don't need to answer that. That will be your homework, and that will sort of come out in your email. But something to start thinking about is start thinking about the goal for your business, because it's one of the critical first steps, and that will then help you as we move on to the planning stage of it. So let's talk business plans. Business plans are the bane of a lot of business owners. They say business, I think it's probably about 5% of the businesses I've spoken to have actually had a business plan, which is that good? Probably not. But do I really care? Probably not, because I think there's a better way to do it. So business plans have lots and lots and lots and lots of information. A business plan can be 20, 30, 50, 100 pages long, full of a lot of text and probably a lot of stuff that people don't actually read once they've done it. It's got things on their timelines, their competitor analysis, SWOT analysis, missions, visions, marketing, products, financials, operations. It's got everything in there. And they're usually done to provide things like direction, clarity, give you the tools or resources. A lot of the time they're done because a bank or someone actually wants it done. So look, I say don't make a business plan unless, and this is the big unless, you're in startup mode and new to business, because it's the perfect opportunity to do one. And the level of detail probably varies depending on the type of business that you're starting up. If you need finance for growth or for funding, so if you do need to go to a bank and actually get finance for your business, well, they'll probably demand that you have a business plan. So you're stuck with it, and you're going to have a business plan in that particular case. If you need it for award nominations, or some people in the past have done the Telstra Small Business Awards and different things like that have been in this particular group, and they've had to have business plans, full-on business plans. So if you need it for that, you'll need to have one. Or if your business is about to be ramped up and scale up in size, you know, such as franchising, licensing, opening up second sort of locations and things like that, it's probably a smart idea to actually have some sort of business plan in place. And if you're creating a business case for potential investors or buyers, they may want to see a business plan. So look, there are exceptions, but the most important thing is, if you do have one, that you don't just use the old set and forget. You need to have it, and it should be a living document. It should be something that's updated regularly, and it takes a bit of discipline to review it every 6 months or every 12 months or whatever it may be, because it should be a document. It's not just done once for a tick box. It should be something that's done and actually used. But I think that most businesses can get by with a one-page plan, and that's what I'm going to talk about for the remainder of this webinar. And this is what a one-page plan looks like. Okay, so you can see there, and you probably can't read that, but you will get a template for this in the email that comes out with the recording. This is what I use with all of my clients. Okay, I think I've had one client that's had to actually make a business plan, a full-on business plan, but we still had the one-page plan, and one of those little boxes was the actual business plan was a task. So what's it got on here? This top line here, so you can't read it, this top line here is our goal. So it's our vision, and then our mission. Okay, so a bit of a statement about how we're going to achieve that goal. And then what we do through the audit process, which you'll go through yourself, is we work out what are the 4 or 5 key areas that our business needs to have process and system put in behind. So this one here is, I can't read my writing because it's so small, is establishing the brand via solid sales strategy and execution, creating sustainable systems and processes for the business, developing a full marketing plan, establishing processes around people and training, and establishing key financial processes. Look, I think about 80% of the businesses that I've done have had probably those 4 or 5 are the most important ones. So it's your people, it's your marketing, it's your sales, it's your finances. And what we do then is, through the audit, is we list all the things that are missing, and they become our little tasks. So this is like this is your document to achieve your goal. So by going through and completing all these tasks over the period of 3 months, 12 months, 5 years, whatever it may be that your goal sets, they will get you well and truly on track to actually achieve that goal. But don't be too scared, because we will go through how to fill that out, because I've made it hopefully simple for you to do, so it's not as daunting as what it looks. So the benefits of a one-page plan, I think, is it's much less cumbersome than a business plan. Okay, it's easy to have that one-page plan. You can blow it up, make it bigger, put it on your wall in your office. You can share it with your team, and that way everyone's on that same one page. You get more chance of reviewing something that's smaller. It's much easier to get that alignment of your team if you talk them through, well, hey, here's our focus, here's the priority items, and this is what we're going to be working on first. And I said, you put it up, okay, it looks less daunting, and it helps keep you focused, because you'll never go through and flick through all the pages on your business plan that you've got to try and find, well, what do I do now? Okay, you've got it all in front of you. They're in bullet point format, and you prioritize those so that you use the whole eat the elephant approach. Okay, we do one bite at a time. We can't eat that elephant in one setting. You can't get to your goal in a week. It's going to take you time and take discipline to actually get there, and you do it little bit by little bit just to achieve that success. And if you're already not working on your business in any sort of structured process, well, just by developing that one-page goal, or that one-page plan, sorry, and then doing little chunks each week, you'll eventually start getting through it. And as you start crossing off those things that you've done, you'll start feeling, hey, well, I've achieved something. I'm getting there. I'm making a difference, and I can see the tangible benefits for my business. So where do you start with this whole thing? And I said, it does look daunting. It probably is daunting. But as I said, I've tried to make it in the email that you'll get, I've tried to make it simple for you, and I'll explain that whole process through this stage. So where do you start? You review your business, and there's a full assessment, a full self-assessment is normally done. So when I start with the coaching client, I do a full day, I do an audit process. Okay, so I go through, and I've got about a 50 or 60 page document that I go through, and I ask them everything about their business, about their personal goals, about their business goals, about what they've got that works, what doesn't work, talk about their people, talk about their finances. Usually makes them feel pretty bad about themselves, because they don't have a lot of those things done. And then we write down everything that's missing, no matter how small, okay? And the good thing is I've made the most common things simple for you, because I've given you a document that's got the most common things that people have missing in the sample questions that you'll be getting and come out in the email. Doing this by yourself independently is often a challenge, because you don't know what questions to ask yourself, and that's why people get experts in to actually ask those questions, to take them through that process. And that's a lot of reasons why people get a coach in. They want someone to come in and evaluate, where am I at now? Where's my business currently at, and what is it that's missing? The plan covers all the areas. It covers people, systems, financial, sales, marketing, product, inventory, process, customers, etc., etc. We list everything, as I said. So when I produce the audit report for them, it has, it's probably the document I give back to them. It's probably about a 20-page document with a massive lists, all put into those particular categories. And then we make those what we call a vital few categories. So those top 5, you saw up top up here, let's go back. These ones here are what I call the vital few, those 5 topics up the top. And the important many are these ones. Okay, so we'd have the important many and the vital few. And then the important many are the list of all the things that are needed in all that category. So everything that's listed as missing or that needs to be developed under people, everything that's under your financial process, everything that's under sales, everything that's under marketing. And they're the tasks that we then start working on. I should have just gone to that next page, shouldn't I? Okay, so that's what they look like. And what we do then is we actually prioritize each of those. So if we look at our list of the important many, we give them a ranking, okay? And we give them a 1, 2, or a 3. So we might have our list of 15 things under our sales bucket. We might say, okay, from all of these, what's probably the things that I can get done in the next 0 to 3 months? Give them a 1. Then what's something that can take between the next 3 to 12 months to get done? Now, the task's time frame here is up to you as far as your time you can commit to it, and it's also up to there might be a couple of simple things that you can actually put in place straight away. Like you might say, okay, but no job roles for my staff. That's probably a pretty important task. I need to have job roles. I haven't got them at the moment. I'm going to give that a priority 1 because one, I need to get it done in the next 3 months, and it's probably something that we can get done in the next 3 months. Whereas, implementing a full-on performance management process is probably a 12-month process, just based on the time to implement. By the name, a 12-month performance management process is going to take 12 months to actually roll through a cycle, and then by the time you implement and roll out and everything like that, it's probably going to become a 2 or a 3. So some tasks will take longer to do. Some tasks could be, it's like picking the low-hanging fruit off our particular lists. Then you take all your 1s and you give them a priority as well. So you'll have a 1A, which is something easy to do. Haven't done it for a long time. I've just been fluffing around, and if I actually get off my bum and do it, I know I can get it done in the next. I can probably do it straight away. So that might be a 1A. So that's something you do, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. A 1B might be a 1 to 2 months, and a 1C could be within the next 1 to 3 months. Look, that's just a guide, but the idea is you'll have 1As, 1Bs, and 1Cs, and then you'll have a whole lot of 2s and 3s, and you'll have more than one of each. So you won't just have 1A, you might have 5 1As, because it might be 5 things that you can get done now. You might have 6 or 7 1Bs, you might have 10 1Cs, and then you might have another 10 2s and another 15 3s. So you have multiple priority levels, and again, like I mentioned at the start, based on how your business actually operates and functions, the cycle of those priorities may change. So you might find something that you had down as a 2 due to necessity, because look, well, I didn't have job roles or people processes as a priority because I've got no staff, but all of a sudden your business starts growing and you need to get staff. So you might have had develop a staff process or an employment process as a 3 because it's just you. But if you decide you need to hire someone, well, hey, that becomes a 1 because you need to recruit them properly. So you've got to have a recruitment process. You need to have interview guides for them so you can actually ask targeted questions at the interview. You've got to have a job role, you've got to have employment agreements, and then you've got to have a performance management process. So that might then move from a 3 to a 1. So it should be a living document, just like I mentioned before with a business plan. If you have one, the business plan is a living document. Your 1-page plan should also be a living document that changes and gets reviewed regularly. I review these with my clients every sort of six months or so as a minimum, just to see, well, okay, well, what have we done, and are these priorities still relevant, or does our goal need to be tweaked? Are we achieving our goal too easily, or are we nowhere near our goal? So maybe we need to make the goal a little bit more realistic. So if you're spending that time working on your business, you'll actually sort of start getting a feel for how your business is operating and running, and then you can then start adjusting these things. But again, I'm here as you go through this process to bounce things off with the goals, and I will challenge you. When you send me your one-page plan, I will say, okay, well, look, you've got that down as a 1, but then you might have something that's related to it as a 3. So I'll sort of say, well, shouldn't they both be 1s, or both be 2s, or both be 3s, or where's your logic behind this? So as I said, once you get the documents, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it's not as daunting as what it looks, hopefully. But it's a scary task. Look, the final execution of the one-page plan is, you've got that one-page document. So you've got the one-page document. It's got your goal at the top. It's got your vital few, so the 4 or 5 bubbles at the top. Your sales, your people, your process. It could be one of your bubbles if you're going to replicate your business, could be to fully systemize and replicate, to scale it up. That might be one of your big bubbles. So what do you need to do for that? Well, you've got to have your operations manual. You've got to have you've got to have all your systems documented and recorded. You've got to have a proper proper marketing sort of program for that. You've got to have all your people processes in place. So there might be a whole thing around that. Then you take that to your staff, or if you don't have staff, your partner, your business partner, your family, your friends, your advisors, your business coach, your customers. Ask your customers if you've got good relationships with customers. Say, hey, look, this is my business because you deal with me. This is where I'm thinking of going. This is my big vision. Share the excitement with them. But they'll say, oh, cool. Your business is really, they're raving fans already because they're buying from you. But if they know that you're going to go from 1 location to 10 locations, well, it's good for them because they might be able to access you in more different points. Or if you've got a product that you're going to start selling online that was only available in store that had to travel to, well, that's great for them, and get their feedback. Have someone challenge your goal and the plan to help identify any gaps or opportunities. And that's where you can use me, but use the other people as well. Get feedback from as many people as you can when you actually do it. And then once you've got that final version, or that final working version, that's when you present it to your team, if you've got a team, and actually get their buy-in, get their support. Say, hey, look, have a meeting just around, here's the vision for the business, here's where we're heading, and this is the document that we're all going to be working off. Because they feel engaged, they feel that they're a part of the overall process for your business, and they'll be excited by it as well. So, use them to help you achieve more from it. So, the team doesn't just stand for, isn't just your team working for you. It's together, everyone achieves more. Focus on the quick wins. I mentioned before the low-hanging fruit. So if there's a couple of things on there that you can get done and tick off, do them. Gives you go, cool, I've already started working on some of these things, and you'll start. That makes you feel good if you cross something off a list. For people who like working on lists, once you've marked something off that list, you get that sense of achievement, that sense of accomplishment. You've actually done something. So do some of those ones. Look, we'll explain a bit more, in the next session when I talk about your homework tasks, just to give a recap on that. But that's your one-page plan. It's really, and I'll still go through that a little bit more, but that's really the key for today. The key is getting that goal and making that plan. And you might need to watch this webinar a couple of times, especially a little bit on the section on the going through that step for the plan. But I have made it, I think, fairly simple for you to actually go through and develop that yourself while using the content in the email that you'll get at the end of this webinar. So what are you going to be getting? So homework, yes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there is homework from these, and this is the first dose of it. It's designed to help you do something from the current week sessions. Okay, look, I've been on many webinars where you sit there and you go, oh, this is cool, oh, yeah, I should do that, should do this, should do this. Switch off the webinar and you do nothing. But I'm going to make sure that you don't do that. I want you to get that head start and get the most value out of this program so that you can actually get some things done for your business. I want you to start working on your business. Completion is optional, obviously. There's no pass or fail to this program. But look, to get value, you'd be crazy if you didn't do your homework. Okay, if you don't do your weekly tasks, you should feel guilty because you paid good money to attend the course, so you should have a go at doing it. And again, if you struggle, raise your hand, say, hey, I need some help. Happy to help, okay? I'm here to help you along the way. It's where you need to engage with me, use me as a resource, bounce ideas. Even if you get a little bit on the page and get stuck, send it to me and say, hey, I don't know where to go now, what should I do? And that's where I can talk you through it, or reply via email or whatever it may be. It's critical that you do that. So your action for this week is to develop your goal. Okay, what do you want your business to look like? Where do you intend it to go? Like I said, it can be sales, it can be profit, it can be size, it can be location. It's your goal, not my goal. I can't tell you what your goal is. I can challenge your goal and give you some ways to improve your goal, but I can't write your goal for you. And make it smart. So just as you write it and before you send it to me, just ask yourself those questions. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? And is it timely? Okay, so just test yourself on those things before you hit that send button. Now, let's have a look. This is what you'll be getting. This is two documents. There's a blank one and there's one that's got a some questions and answers on it. So what I've got the most common buckets that I've found, and I think those should fit most of your businesses. So a whole list of questions under sales execution, a whole list under systems and processes. So simply what you do, and we'll take a little bit of mucking around to do, because I haven't sort of got, this isn't in an automated phase or anything like that. You've got two documents. One's got the questions and one's blank, where you need to put your comments in there. So I'll say, is your sales process established and defined? It's a yes or a no. If it is, great. You've got a sales process, you don't need to do anything. If it's not, you then need to go and add to your blank document, establish and define a sales process. Is your sales process documented? Well, if it is, awesome, do nothing. If it isn't, maybe you put a point in under your sales bucket of document a sales process. Do you have sales KPIs? Now, KPIs are key performance indicators. Do you have things that you track and measure and everything around sales? If you have yes, great. If you say no, well, guess what? You put in there, establish sales KPIs for business. So I just put little simple sentences like that. Do you manage your leads via a CRM? Now, CRM is a customer relationship management tool. If you have one, you'll know, because you'll know what CRM stands for. If you don't, you probably don't. And it is not necessary for all businesses. So like for a retail or a shop or something like that, you may not need to have a CRM, but you'll need to have a database. Have you had any sales training? Do you need sales training? Have you got any sales processes by channel? Now, by channel, I mean that if you're selling different sorts of things, so you might have a dine-in business, a takeaway business, a delivery business. You might have, you might be selling energy efficiency, and you might have solar, you might have insulation. They're channels, they're different product channels. Do you have a client management or retention process, including as automated? Well, no. Guess what? You add that to your list. Are your sales separated by channel or category? So on your P&Ls, do you actually have, sales by your channels? So sales by drinks, sales by burgers, sales by wraps, sales by different things like that. So you can actually analyze the different categories of your business. So you use that checklist and go through and add whatever's missing to your blank document. And that's what your blank document looks like. So you put your goal in there, put your company name, you put what your key priority is. So those 5 buckets there might be your sales, establish a sales process, establish a people process, could be develop marketing, could be to replicate your business, to systemize your business. You'll get some ideas when you see the template. And list them all first, and then once you've got them all listed, if you want to send them to me and say, well, hey, this is what I think I've got on here, great, do that. We can have a discussion around it. Or if you want to go to that next level, you then start putting your 1As, 1Bs, 1Cs around the whole chart in the green boxes. Simple, hey, easy, easy, easy. As I said, it's a little bit daunting, but it's actually not as daunting. I've tried to, like I said, this is something that takes 1, 2, 3 sort of half-day workshops with a client to go through. So I'm trying to cram a lot into this to give you an output that would normally take, so probably a month or so to get with the standard coaching client based on the contact time I have with them. So it's a big ask, but once you've got this is your foundation. So your action this week is simply to develop your goal, to build that 1 page, and then send it to me either completed, half completed, quarter completed, or ask any questions to get the feedback. And you won't get it right the first time. I'll challenge you, I'll bounce it back off you and say, hey, have a look at doing this. is your goal really smart? You think it's really, is it a specific goal, or you're being a little bit airy-fairy with it? You will get feedback. So if you don't give it to me, I can't give you feedback, unfortunately. And don't fall too far behind, because then you'll get more homework next week. So this week we've talked about your goal and your plan, the most critical aspect of the business. Next week we're going to be talking about building that team. Okay, so what we're going to be covering off then, and at the same time, you'll get email setups and reminders for the links and everything again as per this week. But we talk about the people process, we'll talk about job roles, we'll talk about performance management, and we'll talk about staff appraisals and how you can set those all up for your business as well. And finally, look, if you don't have my details, which you should, but this is how you contact me. My email, phone number. Look, I have a very strict policy with my phone. Ring me. I'll answer it if I can. If it doesn't, leave me a message. If you don't leave me a message, I won't ring you back. Okay, so leave me a message and say, hey, it's Joe Blow. Can you give me a call back when you're free? Or send me a text message, say, hey, give me a call back when I'm free. Websites, my website there, or there's a Small Business MBA website. I'm on Facebook at Business Coaching Canberra. If you haven't liked my page, go and like it, because I chuck stuff on there as well. If you haven't connected with me on LinkedIn, connect with me at Tony Ozan, and Twitter at Tony Ozan as well. So that is it for week one. Nice, short, sharp, to the point, easy. Hopefully not too scary or too daunting, but I'm here to help you as far as getting you through this journey together. Make sure you use me. That's all I can keep saying. I'll stop saying it after a couple of weeks, because you either will be or you won't be. And I said you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So any questions from the webinar, flick me an email. If you're watching this as a recording, the same deal goes. You don't need to be on it live. Just watch the recording at your leisure. But make sure you do watch the recording each week, because it will have all the links for all your homework and all your tasks and everything else in there. So thanks very much for joining me. We've only got 6 weeks to go. It's the good news. And have a great evening or a great day when you're watching it. See you guys.